We are all going to die one day, whether that's tomorrow or 60 years from now. And it's not a matter of if, but when. I used to be so terrified of death. It started probably when I turned around 18 or 19 maybe, or maybe even 20 to 21. But it started hitting me when I stopped being a teenager. Because when I was a teenager, I was kind of like, oh, I still have so long left until I die. And then I hit my 20s and I was like, oh God, I'm 20. What the fuck? I only have 60 years left or 70 years left. And that scared the shit out of me. I used to be so afraid. And it was to the point that I would sometimes have these phases where I would go an entire 2 weeks just ruminating about death for 2 weeks straight. It made me afraid to fall asleep. It was really bad. I was just thinking about my parents dying, myself dying, my grandparents dying, my friends dying. I could not unobsess with the idea of death. And then it would kind of go away for a little bit. I don't really know how I would get myself out of that funk, but it was just kind of a thing that came and went for a couple of years. And then I kind of just forgot about it for a couple of years. And then something happened that changed my life in 2023. I met a guy at the club. We both didn't go clubbing very often, and we really hit it off. He was just such a kind soul, and we dated for about a month, and he was actually killed in a motorcycle accident. And as you can imagine, that just completely broke me. He was the first guy I'd met in a long time that I'd actually clicked with and really enjoyed spending time with. And I was not only grieving his death and absence, but also what we could have been, our future. And yeah, so the first several weeks, I was just obsessed with the idea of death again. It just hit me all over again, but 10 times worse. I couldn't stop Googling things like, where does the consciousness go after we die? What happens to the brain? What happens to the body? Is he still, is his energy still around in the form of him, And I was in so much denial, which is one of the stages of grief. And I was just hanging on to any thread, any piece of him that I could. And I'm so grateful that I actually ended up, because of that experience, making good friends with a lot of the people in his life, which I'm still so grateful for. But yeah, it was probably one of the worst things that happened to me, but it was also one of the best teachers of something that I've just been so afraid of the last few years. And basically what happened is that I was in therapy one day, about a month or several weeks after it happened in 2023. And I remember talking to my therapist at the time about how terrified I was of the idea of death and just eternal nothingness, because that's what I think death is going to be. If you don't think that, then I completely respect that, but this is just my point of view. But yeah, I was just talking about how scared I was, and my therapist said something that I don't even remember exactly what we were talking about and what she said, but this one sentence she said really stuck with me. And she said, I don't know about you, but I don't want to meal prep for eternity. And I laughed and I was like, holy shit, I feel you so much on that. Because personally, I enjoy cooking, but it's not my favorite thing in the world. So if you really like cooking, I'm sorry, there's no hope for you. No, but I think the reason things are even special is because we die. That's the reason we celebrate anything, right? We celebrate birthdays and anniversaries and just special things, because one day we're all not going to be here. Life is not permanent, and death is a part of that. But yeah, so that definitely helped. And then also something that interestingly really helped is that I have a much better relationship with sleep now than I used to. It's definitely been a long time coming. I think death is going to be a lot like sleep. It's just going to be like how we were before we were born. It could be even more nothingness than that. But also, that was literally like nothing. So maybe it just is. I don't know. But no one who is alive right now actually knows what death is like. Not even people who have had NDEs, because they didn't actually die. They came back, right? So no one actually knows what death is like. And if they think they do, then I'm sorry, but that's silly. But yeah, I think the reason I'm not afraid of death anymore is also because I love sleep now. I used to be so, like, I wanted to be awake all the time. I loved consciousness. And it's not that I don't love consciousness, obviously. I love life even more now, to be honest, because I live it authentically and fully. Not based on fear, but out of love, I guess I could say. I think that, yeah, like now I actually get sleepy at, like 10:30 to 11 p.m. I actually look forward to my cozy time in bed now, and I'm not afraid to sleep anymore because to me, it's like my rest time. It's comforting to me. And I think death is just going to be a lot like that, and just sinking into that peacefulness slowly but surely. And I don't know, I'm not afraid of that anymore. And that's not to say I want to die tomorrow, obviously. I'm not depressed anymore, like I'm doing great. Actually, I finally got a job. I accepted a job offer last week. I'm starting next week and I'm so excited because it's what I wanted to do the last few years and it's for a great company. But yeah, I'm very happy. But anyways, so yeah, I don't know, I'm not afraid of that unknown aspect of life anymore, that is death. Also, here's some nihilistic food for thought. I also just don't really care what happens to the human race anymore because I'm not afraid of death. Like, why do we care so much what happens to our collective species? We're the most intelligent species, and we're obviously manifesting that in the current ways we're seeing with AI and like technology and whatnot. But it's also going to be the way we destroy ourselves, I think. Civilizations have rebuilt themselves and crumbled and then rebuilt again over and over. But I don't know, like, we're literally living through that right now. The world we live in, like, no matter what political view you have, things are scary. But I do believe that even if our species ceases to exist, which I don't think is gonna happen, I don't think anytime soon, maybe not in our lifetimes, but maybe our children's, but nature will always prevail. And nothing is actually good or bad, it's all relative. Us dying out is not good or bad. Nature prevailing, again, is not good or bad. Nothing is actually good or bad, it just is. What if it just is? Kind of in the same way that the dinosaurs were wiped and then life started again. We're just so puny and we're not as important as we think we are. And there will be other life forms. That's what I think. I don't know. I mean, we should just all strive to enjoy the time we have. Obviously, like, worry is a part of life and it's inevitable, but worrying isn't going to change what happens to our species and in our lives. And that's not to say I don't worry all the time and I'm not anxious as fuck. But anyways, that took a very dark and philosophical turn. But yeah, I hope you guys liked this video. I had that idea a couple weeks ago, but I was too lazy to film it. And yeah, so that's that. I hope to see you guys again soon. I'll probably be pretty busy with my new job, but I'm hoping to upload maybe in a couple weeks or next month again if I think of something. All right, goodbye.